Hey guys, welcome back with the QD Docs. Today I'm joined here again with Dusty, and we're going to talk about a great exercise that you can use for mobility in a lot of different joints up and down the kinetic chain. So we call this quadruple flexion. Alright, so Dusty's going to go into a squatting position with his hands over his head, but he's going to be holding onto the bar. And we'll demonstrate that here in a little bit, but it's important to work flexion or be able to bend at the ankle, the knee, the hip, and this thoracic spine. Alright, so, and if you don't have the ability to bend or flex those areas, you're going to have a lot of compensations and a lot of dysfunction with movement. Alright, so quarterbacks, football players present with very tight ankles. They present with hips that are extremely tight, especially in hip extension and hip internal rotation, and they also present with a really tight thoracic spine. And over time, these dysfunctions can cause, a lot of issues when throwing, when running, when jumping, whenever, with a lot of different movements. So we're going to show you an exercise that's great to hit all of those areas at one time. All right. So I'm going to have Dusty get in front of this rack. All right. So he's going to put his hands about chest height just at the rack. All right. So from here, he's going to want to have his feet about shoulder width apart, toes pointed forward. He might just bring his hands a little bit lower, right? Misguided in there. That's good. All right, he's going to try to go down into a squat and reach his butt and hips back and try to drop his butt down as far as you can while keeping the ankle, the knee, and the hip all in alignment with each other. All right. So a big problem we see is that when a lot of football players want to squat, they want to squat with the feet out. They want to squat and try to turn their knees out because they're trying to work around dysfunction at the hip. And they also want to try and overextend the low back because they lack a lot of range of motion in this upper spine. So I'm going to have Dusty do is squat down while he holds on. So ankle, knee, hip, thoracic spine is all flexing. I'm also going to have him cycle some breaths. Alright, so he's going to breathe deep in through his nose. He's going to exhale as far as he can on the way out. And while he's exhaling, he's trying to round his back even further and drop his butt down even further towards the ground. So with each exhale, he's trying to drop down further and further into that squat. And that looks pretty good. Alright, the knee is in line with his foot, which is just outside the hip. It looks like a good squat position. And you can see as he's starting to breathe and decrease that tone in his body, he's getting lower and lower. Alright, so the goal would be to do this until there's no longer a change or until it gets painful. Because a lot of times, a lot of the soft tissue that hasn't been moved in these certain ranges of motion, it'll get a little bit painful. So I'm going to have Dusty stand up. And that was good. You will want to hold that in increments of probably a minute to a minute and a half, or there's no longer a change. I would say do 2 to 3 sets of that, but Kelly Surratt has that 10-minute squat test, which is really, really good. I would say try to work up to that, all right, because if you can't do a proper bodyweight squat, you need to be doing some sort of, squat practice, and this is a good place to start with that. So work up, I would say 10 minutes, and then try to do more bodyweight squats.